Alright, what's good? It's KYV. We're back. Today's going to be a little different. It's going to be a trade recap, and in all honesty, I want to start doing these more often, just to really show my model and how it's presented, and just also for personal documentation. So if I ever find a trade where the loss is a valuable lesson or it shows a concept or the model that I teach personally, I'm gonna make a video on it and I will recap the trade. Today was a nice example of that, because it does have a mix of both. It shows the model and it also shows some mistakes I did. And just for reference, I did record the trade, but the audio was just completely fucked up. So here's a screenshot. Me full screen. This is a screenshot of the trade. As you can see, you can clearly see this did not reach full TP. It was a win, but it did not reach full TP. So let's get straight into it and just explain this trade. All right, so first things first, we gotta start on the higher time frame. So go on the higher time frame, and what do we see? Well, we just wanted to look at regular respect versus disrespect profiles. So if you guys look, we disrespected this big 4-hour bearish gap, and we're respecting bullish gaps. So if we were truly going to continue bearish, it would not be here. I anticipated a bullish move for the day. Go on the 1 hour and we can very more clearly see that we're disrespecting bearish 1 hour gaps, respecting 1 hour bullish gaps. That really sets my bias for bullish on the day. Even though we did have a pretty big dump, still I would want to see bullish price action, at least for the first AM session of the day, New York AM. So that's how we use the higher time frames. Now what do we want to do? We want to go to the 15-minute. First thing I like to check for is the quarterly theory profiles. So we had our X, A, and then Q3, you could anticipate manipulation, which is why I came to the conclusion that, okay, what we could possibly do market open is I'm going to scale down the time frame. I'm going to look for an AMD on the 5-minute that takes us bullish up to my target, which was this this 15-minute gap. It was mitigated with these equal highs resting. And then we could expect shorts. So I only wanted to trade up to here. So after we decided that we would want to scale down, that's what I did. Scale down, what do we see? Okay, exactly what we're looking for. We get a lot of accumulation pre-market. And if you notice, Q1 and Q2 both accumulated. When this does happen, this is just a quick little tip. Stop really assigning these quarters that, okay, it has to be X or A, or it has to be AMD, you know? This was just both accumulation. So we would expect a manipulation Q3. And we did actually get that. So prior to market open, we did run out this sell side, this side of the range. So my new targets were here and here for market open to manipulate into and then continue higher. And I said to myself, if by the chance we're bearish, I'd like to see manipulation into the new 15-minute gap or any 5-minute gaps, rather than going and taking out these lows immediately. So market opens, what do? Take out these lows. Bullish bias was confirmed. So now we just got to look for the entry. One more thing I'd like to say, which helped my bias of being temporarily bullish, is that our RTH gap was a bearish gap. So we had a huge RTH gap, which we were expected to fill later. So I think just as of right now, maybe later in the day, we're going to be bearish. Now we go into here. Let's go into the 1 minute where I look for my entry. So keep in mind, today we also did have 10 a.m. news. So I was being cautious of that. So I did want in and out very fast. So we get that manipulation, we take out that liquidity. So what am I looking for now? I'm looking for a first present fair value gap. We get that right here. And from here, of course, it's a bearish gap. So obviously I'm anticipating for this to get disrespected. We want to see a full inversion and then ideally a fair value gap formed. So what happens? Literally exactly that. We inverse this gap and form a new fair value gap. So this was already enough to enter in longs, but as you guys see, I wouldn't have had my stop 5 points below here because this is a very small IFEG. I would have probably had my stop here to be safe. And as you can see, that was only 1.39 RR. Just terrible. So what do we want to do? We want a better entry. So I was looking at this fair value gap and then a 5-point stop below that gap. So it would be 37.5 right there. And my full target was about here and break even was here. So we got filled, entered, broke even, partials, we took out most of the trade here, and full TP did hit, but I actually did fully close here, right at this body basically. So we got offered basically 2.3 RR. Partials was at 1.8, so we'll say 2 RR in total. So 2 RR in total obviously wasn't ideal. I closed early because I was a bit afraid of news. It was creeping up. It was approaching in about 10 minutes. I did not want to get stuck in a chop and even maybe a bearish candle for news. Although, you know, we did not get anything at all. Which is surprising because it was PMI. It was the first PMI since January, so I was very heavily anticipating for a big move. Which is why I closed early. But as you guys see, 2 minutes after I closed, reached the full TP. Yeah, but I will say, you know, this happens. Lessons to be taught, and you know, closing positions early, whether it's news or fear or something like that, you just want to get out early. But of course, the best scenario would have been to let this run. But again, 2 RR on the day, pretty solid. I'm pretty happy with this trade, and I just loved showing it because it is honestly a great example of how I trade. Like, this was pretty textbook for me. We got our accumulation, manipulation, distribution. I love trading that. Obviously, incorporate some time into that. First present fair value gaps, IFVGs. It was a great trade for me. So that's about it for this recap. So let me know in the server or down below what trades you guys took. And if you guys want a free trading community, go to the link in bio. It is a free trading community. Post trades, have calls, teach lectures live on call. So if you guys ever have any questions during the videos, y'all can just ask live on call. That being said, I will see you guys in the next recap in the next lecture.